So Donald Trump pardoned today, not 2 hours, well, it's released to the news 2 hours ago. He pardoned a Democrat who tried to uh, sell influence to take the Obama's vacant Senate seat when he became president, which is pretty crazy. Donald Trump pardoned this man, and he A, was a Democrat, B, he was on The Apprentice, so of course he got to know Trump personally. B, C, oh my god, it's just unbelievable the level of corruption, but the right doesn't care at all. On one hand, you see the false nihilists pretending that they want the whole system to burn, and then on the other hand, they say socialism will destroy this country, and that Bernie Sanders is going to destroy everything. So by that logic, if they wanted Donald Trump to burn everything, wouldn't they? And he's not burning. Well, he's attacking minorities, women, the LGBT community. He doesn't give a shit about them. Like, he's attacking them. And what I've come to realize, that no, Republicans aren't good people. They aren't. It's an unfortunate reality. There are some individuals that you may be able to take aside and speak reasonably to, but on the whole, they don't care about what's right. They don't care about a better society. They want to maintain the status quo because they're afraid of change. And that has been the point of view of everyone who feels like things are good enough. Everyone. They don't care about everyone else. They see everyone else and they just don't give a shit. They throw crumbs, and they pretend like they care. They throw crumbs, they donate, but their libertarians think that you shouldn't be forced to donate, which is pretty much what Social Security is. Of course, when the last time this country had sweeping socialist reforms in this country, we got Social Security, so poor people and disabled people don't become destitute. They aren't homeless. They're just not everywhere. They're not dying in the streets from homelessness. We've had unions which have made 40-hour work weeks, which allow us time to spend with our families. Otherwise, we would have the old times where a man was never present and a woman was at home. And that's exactly what a lot of Republicans claim is the best scenario, is having the woman be the caretaker at home and the man being the breadwinner. Which, I mean, if certain people want to live that way, there is nothing stopping them from doing that. But in reality, not every man wants to be a breadwinner. Some men want to take care of their kids. Is that a problem? It's not every woman wants to stay at home with the kids. Some of them want to be the breadwinner. Is that a problem? It's just ridiculous that we are pretending that once we are born, this is the way certain things have to be, and there is no overlap. There's no room for growth, no room for trying to make things better, because of fear of losing what you have. And fear of losing what you have, when ultimately the only things we really ever have truly are our bodies and our minds and our health. That is the only thing that that we can ever take with us anywhere, as far as we're able to go anywhere. And what social democrats like Bernie Sanders are trying to do is ensure that bottom level isn't rock bottom, isn't we're only taking you to the hospital when you're having a heart attack, as opposed to giving you the test, telling what you need to do. there are people who are going to ignore those doctor's orders. What are you going to do? That's their freedom to choose an unhealthy life that way. But if we can, there are a lot of people who just don't know how to proceed, don't know where to go, how to get better. And trying to help the unhelpable is always going to be more noble than just saying, oh, they can't be helped. Just forget about them. They're hopeless. And that's what drives every Bernie Sanders supporter compared to Trump supporters, who some of them are pretend to be nihilists. They're not really nihilists. They don't really believe the bullshit. They just want an excuse to be racist and misogynist. And we're going to argue, a lot of them are going to argue, oh, they voted Obama in 2008 and 2012. Well, you know what? Obama promised hope and change. And ultimately, that's what people wanted from the previous administration and the previous administrations. The previous administrations, Obama, from Bush, got us into a never-ending war, which we're still in, long enough for people that were born on the start to sign up for the military and join. People, we're in wars. Like, I don't know how ridiculous this needs to be said, but we're in wars that people who are able to go into now weren't even born when it started. That's unbelievable to me. And they say all this technology we have, all of this surveillance we are capable of, and we're still not able to accomplish what we need to accomplish in foreign wars. Maybe it's better that we don't interfere when in certain scenarios. I struggle with that thought myself. Would it be better to free North Korea from the horrible dictatorship that it is? How many lives will be lost in the process? But in the meantime, lives are being destroyed by this evil regime that, I mean, if Hitler just decided to focus on Germany and didn't want to start a world war, he would have North Korea. We would have North Korea as it is. He could have just taken, before all of the United Nations and everything and all these alliances, he could just go country hopping instead of this perpetual war and just rebuild his resources. But he just kept going, and that's good that he did, because if he had played smarter, if he wasn't so arrogant, then he would have, the world would be very different as we see it today. And would it have been better? No. So, I mean, the great equalizer of evil people is their arrogance, their unilateral arrogance. That they feel like when they get a taste of victory, they just don't feel like it'll never end. But ultimately, it always does. And it's the people who exist now, the people who are suffering now, the people who die with that fighting that struggle now, never see that victory, that ultimate victory that always happens. So it's ultimately a human nature to strive to find the easiest way to exist. I feel like, obviously, corporations want relaxed rules and regulations to allow them to destroy things for their own profit. Workers want more pay. But that's the thing. There's a point, like, no human being is ever going to admit that they will have a point where they stop. Very few people. Um, there are people capable of stopping, and it's a trait we need to value more, humanity. But it's just so easy to fall under the spell of having more and more and more, and it's until we figure out deep space travel, it's not going to seem like a realistic option. So that's my thoughts on it right now. We just need to be better. And what is better? Handmaid's Tale had a fantastic quote. Better for some usually, or something. I paraphrasing. Better for some usually means worse off for some others. And ultimately, what Bernie Sanders is saying, we take a very little bit from the top. The top, who has more than enough, will stay wealthier beyond their wildest dreams for the rest of their lives, their child's lives, and their descendants' lives. Will have that money that they can ride on and contribute nothing. What he's saying is take it from the very top and redistribute it, which sounds terrible to certain people, but I present the argument of dying people. Dying people are worse than people who have to give up when they give up things more than they need. Alright, that's Joshical thought number blah blah blah. I haven't lost count, and I'm not counting anymore. So have a great one.